we're pleased to have Dave O'Neill in his third season as the head rowing coach at UT. Man, does time fly.
Yeah.
3 years already. I can't believe that.
Yeah. Well, it's been 2 years that I've been here, but yeah, this is year 3. But yeah.
Starting year 3. Yeah, absolutely. By the way, since I was talking about the get teed off at OU golf tournament, do you play golf? Do you have time to play
my first job was being a caddy. You know?
Really?
Yeah,
How'd that
and in
go?
fact, I was an okay caddy, and I got a scholarship to college. It was very much a Caddyshack type of situation.
I started to say, how much of the stuff like from Caddyshack that people know from the movie really happened?
My junior, senior, right before, going into my senior of high school, it was very much a Caddyshack situation, like sort of rubbing up to the one
like
member who was
your
in
own
charge
Judge
of everything.
Smales there.
It was kind of
how about a fresco?
There was a little bit of that.
Deals?
I mean, not so much of all the other antics, but yeah, it was good. So yeah, I play golf.
So I started saying,
maybe once every 3 years I'll play.
What drove you away from golf and into the varsity boats?
My freshman year in college, walking across campus, and there was a table out there, and said, hey, hey, what's going on? You guys like, oh, we're starting a rowing team, and I'm like, hey. And so yeah, I'll go join, and then walked in and like a whole bunch of friends right away, and it stuck.
We've talked about this before, and I've always found it fascinating in that the way you recruit for rowing, and this might, for those who haven't heard this, it may just absolutely shock some folks that when you recruit, and tell me if I'm wrong here, but I think I remember you saying, I don't actually go out and look for rowers. I mean, they might be there, and we do recruit them, but in conjunction with that, you're looking for people who you believe will be good rowers, right?
It's twofold. There's recruiting junior rowers from across the state, across the country, across the world. And then there's also the recruiting on campus, where kids who haven't been exposed to the sport, who athletes in other sports and just never exposed to rowing, and they're tall, athletic, willing to work hard, and they can turn out to be great. So yeah, we've had I think 75, 80 kids come out and try out. We had a workout last week. They had everyone out there working out, and we're going through that process right now. Finding those kids who can be really good rowers. And in fact, at the Rio Olympics, over half the women's Olympic team learned to row in college for the USA team.
Well, and you mentioned that when you do that, you look at certain specs, just like if a football coach is recruiting, might look at a guy and say, well, he's playing quarterback here, but he might be a wide receiver for me. I recruit him as an athlete. You kind of have that macro approach.
Sure. It's kind of like the football coaches might be like, how much can they bench press? What do they do? The 40 and their vertical jump. And for us, like, hey, how tall are they? What do they weigh? For 2,000 meters on the erg, what can they do? For 1 minute on the erg, what they can do? But then, you look at the long haul and how, their toughness, their grit, their resilience, their mindset. And there's plenty of kids out there that have the right body type and have the right physical makeup, but not the right mindset.
Interesting.
So, yeah, we definitely put them through the grind here and figure out the mindset.
Have you ever recruited, I'm going to ask you both sides of this, have you ever recruited a student athlete who you thought was going to be an outstanding rower and just absolutely was not, and by the same token, someone came to you, whether it was a walk-on situation or someone referred someone to you, and you thought, there's no way this kid can row, and then be absolutely surprised
on the
by
first one, sure. I mean, there's certain things you think the sure thing, and she's going to be great, and doesn't work out at all.
Right.
But I would say for some of those smaller kids, or someone you think isn't going to be good.
Yeah. And show up and surprise you.
Yeah, but I think one of the things I think that I'm good at, that makes one of the good things about me as a coach, I think, is seeing the potential in somebody. Mm-hmm. And I'm not a coach that says that'll never happen or you can't. So seeing it, and then hopefully they'll see it in themselves and help bring that out. So, but there have been some definite surprises like that. She turned out to be way better than anyone would have thought.
Wow.
And turned out to be, some of them actually. One of them maybe an Olympic gold medalist, 2-time Olympic gold medalist.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. When we come back, we're going to talk about what Dave O'Neill has getting ready for his third season as the rowing coach of Texas. When Longhorn Weekly with head coach Charlie Strong live from Pluckers continues in a moment. We welcome you back here to Longhorn Weekly. Dave O'Neill, now in his third season as the head rowing coach at the University of Texas. And what a great start you had in the first 2 seasons, really elevating the new heights, placing 7th in the first NCAA Championships appearance as a team in 2015, finishing 8th in the 2016 NCAA Championships. UT has won every race contested in its 2 Big 12 championships under Coach O'Neill, and 3 Longhorns earned All-American status last season, and all 3 of them returned this year. That's always really good news when you have returning All-Americans.
And returned and motivated and strong. So, yeah, it's great.
Well, tell folks a little bit about what returning All-Americans mean to a program, not only just to you as a head coach and knowing what they can deliver, but to what they mean to your team overall.
Yeah, I think once other kids see what is possible, or just the level of the athleticism, the level of strength, the level of fitness that's happening on our team, it's really great. And yeah, rising tide rises all ships. So is that the expression?
Yeah, there you go.
Enough? And yeah, that's certainly happening within our team.
How did it happen so quickly that you got this thing flipped so quickly to be able to, first year, to be able to compete to get into the NCAA championships? You finished 7th, 8th last year. How did that happen so quickly?
Yeah, good question. I think I was fortunate to inherit a really good group, and Coach Graves and the previous coaching staff, I know they didn't have the results that they had wanted, but I think there was a good foundation of the program. And, came in and tweaked some things, and I've always said the formula for success is really simple. It's hard work plus good attitude equals success, and I think even though it's a simple formula, the follow-through is what's really hard. And I think we've done a really good job with the follow-through. Like what happens on a random Tuesday morning in February when it's raining. How good is your attitude? How hard are you working on those days? And I think we've done a good job holding our team, holding everyone, and holding the coaches, holding the athletes accountable on those days. And keep on getting better.
This is something I've been wanting to ask you about when I read about this, because as we often say, facilities at the University of Texas outstanding as well, and rowing is no exception to the rule. There's a wide array of resources from which the rowing team and program can draw, and that includes, is this right, an ergometer room?
Sure, yeah. Or an on-campus training facility, where we
the erg room.
The erg room, that's what it's.
Tell everybody about what
name.
The erg room.
Well,
what's that all about?
Well, the erg room's a room, of course, with all of our rowing machines, and the rowing machines we refer to as ergometers. The Concept 2 rowing ergometers. CrossFit uses them. Anyone who does CrossFit, they get on the ergs, and. So we've got 40 of them in there, and then some stationary bikes, and so that opened last January, and that's definitely been a game changer for us.
Wow.
And that's used almost twice a day by people on the team, different squads heading in at different times. So that's become home. That's become sort of mission, sort of headquarters for our team right now.
So basically, what you're describing, and again, if I'm wrong, tell me, but what you're describing is kind of like when a pilot goes into a simulator to fly a jet.
Yeah,
basically,
it's
your erg room.
Sure.
Is that?
Yeah, that's somewhat close. It's basically a big open space where we have a whole bunch of rowing machines and a lot of work getting done. So you walk in there, and there's a lot of sweat. There's a lot of hard work going on, a lot of adrenaline, and it's good stuff.
Now, with that in mind, and I guess rowing is probably the same as every other sport in that putting in the work ahead of time in practice makes all the difference in the world. So it can't be the easiest thing in the world for them just to go into the erg and say, all right, I've put in the time to do that before you put the boat in the water. But that's kind of what putting the hay in the barn is all about.
Yeah, but it's basically allowed us not to have to go down to the boathouse, to get on the ergs, that we can, the efficiency of the kids' day is a lot easier, and we don't have to schedule it with the other teams to use the down in B2 at the north end zone, the strength and conditioning room. It's just ours, and we can just use it anytime we want, and the kids can go in and use it anytime that they want to. So there's team practices going on, and then it's open throughout the day for kids to get in. Since we're an aerobic endurance sport, we put a lot of just minutes and minutes of just aerobic activity, so it allows them to just get in there and get it done.
The Longhorns will open the fall at the head of the Brazos in Waco and wrap up the fall on October 29th at the head of the Colorado on Lady Bird Lake, and UT will host its annual Longhorn Invitational next March at Lady Bird Lake as well. Talk a little bit about what you're looking for out of the fall season before you get to the
the fall, in terms of the races, I don't concern myself very much with the actual results of what's happening with the fall races. It's all about just getting the team better, and like, are we getting better technically? Are we getting fitter and stronger? And are we developing a better team culture within the team? And all those, in all three facets right now, we're definitely heading in the right direction. We've only been really on the water and full steam ahead for about a week now, so it's a long way to go, but all indications, things look good.
Now, you've got competitive student athletes as well. Is it interesting or a little more challenging to get them to dial back just enough mentally to say, I'm not as concerned about the winning and losing during the fall as much as it is about the getting better?
I guess part of that's a little bit about the art of coaching. I guess, like we say, it's all about life lessons and things that you learn, and I think one of the things that's really important is delayed gratification.
Okay.
We're working hard, and like, we're looking for this in the end, as opposed to, of course we have to meet these milestones along the way, but I've always said, one of my mantras, you might have heard me say before, is like, the main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing.
Absolutely.
And the main thing is to go fast in the spring. So the focus for everyday practice is keep that in mind. We're not trying to just sacrifice the long term to do something in the short term. And that happens with, not just with the training and the technique that we're doing on a day-to-day basis, but even just with dealing with injuries that come up. That we're not trying to just, step on the gas to just try to meet a goal in September, when that could sacrifice things that we're looking to do back in May, upcoming in May.
You brought up May. The NCAA championships are set for next May in West Windsor, New Jersey. You're a West Coaster. Have you seen?
Yeah, I actually grew up in the East Coast. So I've spent West Windsor, New Jersey. It's Princeton. It's Princeton, New Jersey. So I've spent quite a bit of time there.
Okay.
With national team stuff, and we had NCAAs there back in 2006, and
So we're looking forward to that. All right, appreciate you dropping by.
Thanks for having me.
All right, Dave O'Neill with us. Coach Strong will rejoin us, and we'll get to some of the questions from here in the restaurant when Longhorn Weekly continues here on the Longhorn IMG Radio Network.